So, my 9th standard students, how is it going? In the last module of the night mail, we just saw the setting. We read about the poet. We saw the setting. We saw the style, and we also saw the significance of the title. I have finished explaining these things to you. So we can, and I gave you the important meanings, the difficult meanings. So now we start straight away with the poem. Basically, this poem has got 5 stanzas. So we begin with the first one. Okay. This is the night mail crossing the border, bringing the check and the postal order. So the poet is talking about the night mail. He is saying that this is the night mail which is crossing the border. I told you the border between Scotland and England. So it is crossing that border. And what is it bringing? It's bringing checks, it's bringing postal orders. Postal orders could be money orders, demand drafts. All these you can check up on Google. You all are very Google smart. So you will be able to get the details if you want to know what it means. But they are orders for money payment. Money payment is the money order is there, postal order is there, demand draft is there, pay order is there, different types. Okay. Letters for the rich, letters for the poor, the shop at the corner and the girl next door. So there are different types of letters for different people. So the train is bringing everything. Pulling up Beartalk. Beartalk is a village in Scotland. A steady climb, the gradients against her, but she is on time. So here the poet Auden has personified the train. He has personified the night mail as a woman, as a woman, feminine, and he is saying that's why he is using the pronoun she for the train. Okay, so the gradient is against her, means the slope is there and it's difficult for her to for the train to climb up, but still the train is trying its level best and trying to climb up. So it is a steady climb. Okay. Past the cotton grass, the moorland boulder, shoveling white steam over her shoulder. What is cotton grass? The grassy plants with white fluffy cottons locking the flowers. We've done this yesterday. Looking at the flowers. Moorland is uncultivated hilly areas. So she's crossing all these things. She's crossing the uncultivated areas and she's going, and every time she's crossing, what is she doing? She's shoveling, means throwing back white steam above her head. You know, if you want to see exactly what is a steam engine, you can Google it, and then you'll find lots of pictures of steam engines. We had this in India also. So this what is a steam engine, you'll come to know from there. Okay, normally they used to use coal to run these engines, and then the person in the engine driver or the person in the engine car, he had to keep feeding coal into the engine so that the train would move. Okay, so that is what he is talking about. Shoveling white steam over her shoulder, snorting noisily as she passes, silent miles of wind-bent grasses. Now, snorting noisily is a figure of speech. Okay, so it is giving us it's an imagery also, and it's a figure of speech also. It is snorting noisily, making a noise as she is passing over the quiet terrain. She herself is making noise. Who's the she? The train. Silent miles of wind-bent grasses. So what are wind-bent grasses? I had given you this meaning, no, yesterday. Oh, I'll have to check it. Where is it? Oh, I'm not given. Okay. Wind bent grasses means, when the train is passing, what happens is that everything is quiet at that time. But because of the energy of the train and because the train is passing by, she is leaving a lot, she's ruffling up the air. And because of the ruffling of the air by the train, the grass starts bending. So it becomes a wind bent grass. Okay. When the train passes by, there is pressure on the pressure of the air, which causes the grasses to bend both the sides. Please make a note of that if I have not given it yesterday. So I hope you understood this paragraph. That is what they are trying to say. Now birds turn their head as she approaches. So it is night time and the birds are sleeping in their nests. But because of the noise that the train is making, so the birds, they turn their heads. and then they look out of curiosity, what is happening, kya ho raha hai, that in their mind, and then they again put their heads down and they go to sleep. Okay, so birds turn their head as she approaches, stare from the bushes at her blank faced coaches. Why is it blank faced coaches? Because when the birds see, they find that there is nobody. I mean, no human passengers are there in the train. So, therefore, it is called as blank faced coaches. So, the birds just see that, oh, everything is blank, there are no passengers, and the birds go to sleep again. Okay, sheep dogs cannot turn her course. I had given it a meaning of sheepdogs yesterday. So these are these dogs who are trained to control the sheep. When you take a flock out, you need somebody to control the sheep. So these dogs are the sheepdogs who can control the sheep when you take them out for grazing. Now these sheepdogs also, who basically are trained to control people or to control other animals, they also realize that we can't change the course means path. We cannot change the path of this train, so there is no point of getting up. You might as well sleep. So they slumber on with paws across. So they are sleeping with their paws across and they continue to sleep because they know that we can't change the path of the train. In the farm she passes, no one wakes. So then she is passing by a farm. Now in the farm you find that there are there's a farmhouse. In the farm there may be people living over there who have bedrooms, who would obviously have bedrooms, but these people also, they also don't stir. Why? What is the reason that they don't stir? In spite of she making so much of noise, in spite of the train making so much of noise, they don't stir because they are living so close to the railway tracks that they have got used to the noise. Okay, roz raat ko she passes by and this noise is always there. She'll pass and she'll go and the noise will stop. So they don't stir. But because of the movement of the train, a little a water jug may just a little shake, gently shakes. Okay. So that was a second paragraph. Then we come to the third one. Dawn freshens. The climb is done. Down towards Glasgow she descends. Dawn freshens means it's become dawn, it's become morning, the night is almost over, the entire night she has spent in trying to climb, and then by the time it is dawn she starts her descent. So she starts going towards Glasgow. Glasgow means she has reached Scotland. Okay, towards the steam tugs yelping down the glade of cranes. So I told you yesterday tugs was boats. So there are steam boats over there and they are yelping, means they are giving sudden starting shouts. They are shouts of cries, they are sudden short cries. A yelp is a sudden short cry. That is the meaning of yelp. So towards the steam tugs yelping down the glade of cranes. What are these glade of cranes? These are rows of cranes along the Glasgow harbour, and they look as if like they are trees in a wood. So that is where the train has now passed and it has come to the industrial area. So from the rural area it is entering into the urban area. Towards the fields of apparatus, the furnaces set on the dark plain like gigantic chessmen. So where is she coming? She's come from the rural area, she's come into the urban area towards the apparatus, towards the furnaces, and set on the dark plain like gigantic chessmen. Gigantic is huge, and chessmen, I told you, 32 pieces of chess. So this is basically an allusion. It is a simile, like the gigantic chessmen is a simile. Okay, so like chessmen, but what sort of chessmen? They are gigantic chessmen, and it refers to the planning and to the working of to the planning and working to make an industry function. So the poet is trying to tell us that from the pastoral setting we have now come into the industrial setting. So where everything is now has to be industrial, and all Scotland waits for her. So the entire Scotland is waiting for her. In the dark glens beside the pale green sea loach, men long for news. So in Scotland people are waiting for getting their news, all sorts of news that they are expecting. So that is the third paragraph. Okay, now here I want to draw your attention to one figure of speech over here. If you notice this word over here, dawn freshens, the climb is done. Down towards Glasgow she descends. If you see, the alphabet D has been repeatedly, the sound D, it is not an alliteration, it is a repetition. There is a difference in alliteration and repetition. This is a repetition where he is saying dawn freshens, the climb is done. Down towards Glasgow she descends. So that the sound is a repetition, and it gives a transition from the uphill climb towards the downhill climb. Okay, so that is one thing that I want you all to notice. Now here, this next paragraph is very easy to understand, and I found it almost like a modern rapper style. Like if you see these modern rappers, you all are cleverer than me, of course, in this, but it is almost like a rapper style, where he says, letters of thanks, letters from banks, letters from joy from the girl and the boy, receipted bills and invitations to inspect new stock and visit relations, applications for situations, timid lovers, declarations, gossip and gossip from all the nations, news circumstantial, news financial, letters with holiday snaps to enlarge, letters with faces scrawled in the margin, letters from uncles and cousins and aunts, letters from Scotland, letters to Scotland from the south of France, letters of condolence to highlands and lowlands, notes from overseas to Hebrides. This is almost like the movement of the train that I told you yesterday in the introductory letter, but it can also be seen that in that century, at that time, Auden has almost written something which, if you're a good rapper, you can set it to rap music. I'm not very good at it, but this is what I thought. So now, what are the different types of letters? Now these are all, what are the different types of letters that they are getting? The male is getting. She's getting letters of thanks, letters from banks, letters of joy from the girl and the boy. Then there are receipted bills. Somebody may have paid something, so receipts of those bills have come. Then there are applications for situations. If there is a job somewhere, then you are applying for that. And timid lovers declarations means lovers who have just fell in love, and they are trying to declare their love to each other. They are trying to profess their love to each other. But one is in England, one is in Scotland. So through letters, they are trying to profess their love declarations. And then what else is there? Gossip from all the nations. Circumstantial, that means complete details. And news financial, so you get complete details of news, you get financial news of what exactly is happening everywhere. Then you have letters with holiday snaps to enlarge. So there could be a few photographs where people want to enlarge those photographs. Letters with faces scrawled, written untidily in the margin. Letters from uncle means letters from relatives. Then letters to Scotland from the south of France. Letters of condolence which express sympathy to highlands and lowlands. Notes from overseas to the Hebrides. What are Hebrides? Hebrides are a group of islands. Please write it down. Hebrides are a group of islands off the west coast. Hebrides are a group of islands off the west coast, OFF, off the west coast, belonging to Scotland. So they are off the west coast, and these islands belong to Scotland. So these letters are also coming over here. Then, like yesterday we read, that lyrical quality, written on paper of every hue, the pink, the violet, the white and the blue, the chatty, the catty, the boring, adoring, the cold and official and hearts outpouring, clever, stupid, short and long, the typed and the printed and the spelt all wrong. So this is a description of what is written in those letters. These are the different types of letters from different type of people, which we saw earlier. Who are the people who are sending these letters? So in that earlier part of the stanza, we get the various facets of human interactions are given in this stanza. How humans interact with each other, that is given in this paragraph. Now, and all types of paper has been used by different people. So there are different papers. Not all papers are white. Some could be white. Somebody would have written on a pink paper. Somebody would write on a violet. Somebody on white paper. Somebody on blue paper. And what are they writing? Some letters are very talkative. Like as if they are talking so much, they are giving in all the details and everything. Some are very catty. Means they are saying saying unkind things as if ready to fight. Some are boring, some are adoring, then some are very cold and official. Means there is no warmth in them, just simple information. You may report for this particular interview at this particular time at this particular place. Cold and official. Or you are appointed for so and so. Finished. Okay. And the heart's outpouring. Some letters, they are like an expression of the strong feeling which is in a heart. Like if somebody is upset with someone, like say X is upset with Y, then that X has poured out all the feelings, all the strong feelings which are in his or her heart, and he has poured everything out on the letter. Okay. Clever, stupid, short and long. So some letters are clever, some letters are stupid, some letters are short, some letters are long. So different kinds of letters are explained over here. Some have been typed, some have been printed, and some have been spelled all wrong. Thousands are still asleep, dreaming of terrifying monsters or a friendly tree besides the band at Cranston's or Crawford's. So he's describing, the third paragraph is telling us, no, this is the last paragraph, sorry. The fifth paragraph is telling us about all the people who are sleeping, that everybody is still sleeping and she is doing her work. Who? The train. Okay, so there are people who are dreaming. Everybody is sleeping where? In all the cities of Glasgow, Edinburgh, Aberdeen. All these people are still sleeping. And at that time what happens? In their sleep, in their dreams, they are either dreaming of terrifying monsters or they are dreaming of a friendly tea. Beside the band, this Cranston and Crawford's are famous tea rooms which are found in Scotland. Okay, so they are dreaming about that. Okay? Asleep in working Glasgow, asleep in Wellset Edinburgh, asleep in Granite Aberdeen. So they are sleeping in all these places. I have explained to you all this in the first module, introductory lecture which I have given you about Aberdeen and everything. They continue their dreams. So these people continue with their dreams. They don't get up. They don't get up when the train comes in. However, they do get up at their regular time, and when they get up at their regular time, what happens? They start awaiting, because the train has given, she has left all her mail and she has gone. Okay, so now the people, the postal people, those who are working over there, they are waiting for the postman to come and knock on the door. So when the postman comes and knocks on the door, and shall wake soon and long for letters, means they will desperately yearn to get a letter. The spelling of yearn is Y-E-A-R-N, yearn. To yearn for something means to want something desperately. Like you say, I am just yearn that I get above 97 in my ICSE. Correct? So you are yearning for that. So that yearn. So long for letters. And none will hear the postman's knock without a quickening of the heart. So everybody who hears the postman knock at his door, it will not be without the quickening of his heart. In the sense, his heart will quicken. That what news has the postman brought? Has he brought good news? Has he brought some condolence news? What sort of news? So everybody is anxious to get that news. So that's it. For who can bear to feel himself forgotten? So who is there, such a person living on this over here, who can forget that that people have forgotten him, people don't remember him? Everybody wants to feel connected. So this last question over here, children, is basically a rhetoric question. It's a question asked to create a dramatic effect, rather than to get an answer. Okay, so that is the rhetoric question. Now with that, I hope the poem is clear to you all. We have done quite a bit of the poem. I mean, the entire poem is done, and I have done introduction also. Now, when I did the introduction with you, I had spoken to you about the main theme. Okay, and I told you that the main theme was the human need to be connected. Correct? Now there are other themes also which are there in the poem, which some of you may have realized when you understood or when you read the poem. So I'll give you those themes also. The second theme, which is not the main theme though, but it is a theme. It is a journey of the night mail. Now, what is a journey of the night mail? It travels overnight between Scotland and England, serving the people by bringing letters, by bringing gifts and all that across the grasslands, and the birds peer at it. So it is an entire description of the journey of the night mail. That is also one of the themes. One theme is the connectivity amongst the people. Second one is the journey of the night mail, which gives us a description of the surrounding landscape from where the train is passing. Okay. Then the third one we can have another theme is the duty. The theme of duty. Now, children, this theme of duty can also be asked to you in case you are asked a question which says, explain the form of the poem. There are different forms of poem. We have sonnets, we have ballads. You all would be knowing by that. So this theme can also be taken as a form. So if you get a question on the form of the poem, you can write this. Or if you are writing about themes that give the themes of the poem, then you have these three themes. First one being human connectivity, second one being the journey of the night mail, and the third one being the duty. Okay. Now, what is it? It is a poem which can be seen as an allegory. Do you know what's an allegory? Allegory. You can write it down. Allegory is a figure of speech. It's a poem or a play that teaches a moral lesson through symbolism. Okay, so allegory is a poem or a play that teaches us a moral lesson through symbolism. So this entire poem can be taken as an allegory, as it conveys to us a sense of duty and punctuality. When we say that it's as if the train knows, the people, the postal service people know that there are people who are waiting in Scotland to get the news, to get their letters, to get the snapshots, to get all those things. So they are waiting. So there are people waiting for the news, and shall awake soon hoping for letters. So that is a duty of the train to ensure that these letters reach the people whom they are supposed to reach. Not only reach them, but it reaches all the letters without discrimination. There is no discrimination, whether you are rich, whether you are poor, whether you are educated, you are uneducated, you are a male, you are a female, you are a child, whoever you are, there is no discrimination. The train will ensure that the messages reach to you. Okay, so it serves everyone, the rich and the poor. And of course, the night mail is very punctual and regular in its duty. So you can add these two themes plus the main theme which I gave you in the introductory lecture. And this last one which I told you, duty, if you are asked a question on explain the form of the poem, then you don't say duty. You begin by saying that this poem can be seen as an allegory, as it conveys a sense of duty. That is the way you will start your answer. That this poem, the form of this poem, if they ask you form of this poem, you begin your answer by saying this poem can be seen as an allegory, as it conveys a sense of duty and punctuality. So that is the way we start this answer. Have you all got it right? Okay. Now, I had also discussed with you earlier that what is the most common thing present in this entire poem? That is the presence of the train, the setting. When we spoke about the setting of the train, the setting of this poem, I told you that the significant part of the setting is the train itself, correct? So that is the main train. How will you prove that this train is present in all the stanzas? See, take a look, children. The very first line, this is the night mail crossing the border. So it is immediately telling us that this is the night mail which is crossing the border. So the night mail has been, and then when it goes on to say, where is it gone? Bringing the check and the gradients against her, but she is on time. So when they start using, when the poet W.H. Auden, when he starts using against her, she is on time, it shows that he has personified the train into a female. Okay, so that is what it is. So that is the presence of the train, where the train has been personified in the very first paragraph. Okay, then the second paragraph, which begins with birds up to shakes. So the birds tell us it is a necessary part of the environment, because from the train you are able to see the environment. So it is an explanation of the environment. That is the presence of the train. Then in the third paragraph, dawn freshens, the climb is done, and it goes to Glaxo and all. So it is telling us that the dawn has dawned, and the train is traveling on a descent. It is going downwards. So the description of the train over here in the third paragraph is the train traveling downhill and anxiously waiting for where people are anxiously waiting for her. Okay, then the fourth paragraph, the fourth paragraph with that entire thing which I have explained, starting from letters up to the word wrong. What I explained to you in my last module in the introduction, and what I told you today also about that style of wrapping and all. So it all gives us the movement of the train going, I've already explained this to you, so I don't need to do it again. But you can write it over there that this paragraph, stanza 4 gives us the movement of the train. Then the fifth paragraph and the last paragraph, thousands are still asleep and all that. It is the train is working hard. It shows us that the train is working hard to deliver all the posts on time. So the train is working hard. The postal people are working hard on that train so that all the letters are delivered on time. Okay, so that is again the presence of the train. So we have the presence of the train. That means the setting is present in all the stanzas. I hope you have got all the 5 points which I have given you. If not, you can rewind the video and you can see it again, so you will come to know that how the train is present. So that much for the poem, that much for the setting, that much for the style which I've done in the earlier module, in the earlier lecture. Then the title I did with you. I think I've covered up everything. I've given you an introduction to the poet. Though you are not asked questions, because it is there in your textbook, it is important for you all to read it. And do read it, because it's an introduction to the poet. If you're doing somebody's poem, you must know the creator. If you know the creation, then you should try to understand what the creator has in his mind, isn't it? That is precisely why when we see this beautiful world, we think about God, we think about all that, which we don't understand. Because if the creation is so beautiful, obviously the creator would be more beautiful. He would be more, you want to know about him. So same way, if the poem is so good, and I'm sure you found it good, because I have liked the poem. I mean, it was written so many years back, and yet it has got that modern style of a rapper which can be introduced over here. It has got that style of showing you the movement of the train by using words. I mean, that is just simply beautiful. So we must read about the poet. Whatever is given in your textbook, children, you cannot cut anything from there. Please remember this right till the end, till you give your ICSE exams. Never cut anything that is given in your portion. Never cut anything, even if you are going to get it as a choice. Do it. Okay? Now we'll come to another important part, that is all the FOS of the poem. What do you mean by FOS? FOS, figures of speech. FOS, I use a short form for figures of speech. Okay, so the figures of speech in this poem, you need to get a paper and a pen or something so that you can quickly write what I'm saying. All the figures of speech which are there in the poem, I'll give you 1 or 2 examples of each and we can discuss all of them. So pause the video, go get something to write in some book so that you have it till you have to appear for your exams and you don't lose sheets or something unless you have a file. So we begin with the first figure of speech. Like I told you, the very first figure of speech is imagery. He has used imagery a lot, and the first imagery that he has used over here is a visual imagery. Okay, and this visual imagery you can see in the very first line where he says, I've also written it down so that I don't forget anything while I'm teaching you all. Okay, so the very first imagery is in the very first line where he says, this is the night mail crossing the border. So he's telling us as if we are looking, this is the night mail which is crossing the border. Okay, that is the first imagery. It's called as a visual imagery. So you can visualize it. Then another example of visual imagery is in the second paragraph, the second stanza. Birds turn their heads as she approaches. So you can imagine the birds, all of them turning their head. Oh, what's happening? Noise. Okay. And then they go to sleep again. So you can imagine. It's a visual imagery. Okay. Then we come to auditory imagery. Auditory means which appeals to the ears, the noise. I have given you all these imageries yesterday, in my last module. Okay, so auditory imagery we find over here where she says snorting noisily in the first paragraph, snorting noisily as she passes. So that is what she has said, the poet W.H. Auden has said in the first paragraph. Snorting noisily is also an auditory example of an auditory imagery, something which appeals to your ears. Okay, then you have another example of auditory imagery in the words, where is it gone? Towards the stream tugs. Children, can you find it? Which paragraph is it? Please find it. I don't know which paragraph. Towards the stream tugs. I told you that the tugs are small boats. Oh, it's in the third paragraph. Towards the stream tugs yelping down the glade of grain. So that is again another auditory imagery. Yelping, of course, I have given you the meaning. Then there are images of, it's like, as if this auditory imagery is used by W.H. Auden in such a way as if he's, first of all, he has personified the train as a human being. Okay, that is the very first thing that we have. And then he also sort of personifies it with animals and their noises, like snorting. So when you snort, it's an animal. Same way when you yelp, again the yelp is the sound of an animal. So it is as if this is a mechanical beast and he has compared it to the normal beasts. So this is like a metaphorical comparison also. I hope you are writing down everything. Huh? Then we have alliteration example. Alliterations are very easy. Feel himself forgotten. In the last line we have F for, so F for F for feel, F for forgotten. So for who can bear to feel himself forgotten. That is alliteration. Then we have another alliteration in the first paragraph where it is shoveling white steam over her shoulder. So sh and sh. Shoveling and shoulder. That is another alliteration. Okay, then we have another figure of speech which I'm not sure if you all are aware of. It is called as the anaphora. Do you know what's an anaphora? No? Okay, write down the definition. I'll give it to you. Anaphora is the repetition of a word. Anaphora, spelling is ANAPHORA. Anaphora. Okay, and it is the repetition of a word at the beginning of three or more successful lines. So when you repeat a particular word more than 3 lines, then it is called as an anaphora. So you all can guess where this anaphora is. Yes, over here. Letters of thanks, letters from banks, letters of joy, letters with holidays, letters with faces, letters from uncles, letters from Scotland, letters of condolence. So letters. So these letters is an example of anaphora. Then of course the personifications. Okay, the first human quality, he has personified the train itself as a human being and she's going up the gradient and all that. That is the example, the gradient thing. Then he has given it animal qualities also, which I just explained to you, snorting noisily as she passes by and all that. Okay. Then the last line I told you, apart from having an alliteration, it also is a rhetoric question. Do you know the definition of a rhetoric question? I just gave it to you. Yes, I gave it to you. And then of course there is the next figure of speech is a metaphor. Metaphor is an indirect comparison. Okay. Do you have the definition of metaphor or would you want it? Okay, I'll know it. Very good. Metaphor is an indirect comparison without using the words as or like. Okay. So the train's journey has been described. What is a metaphorical comparison? Where he describes the train's journey, pulling up Beer Talk, a steady climb. So the train's journey, the journey. I'm talking not about the train. I'm talking about the train's journey. The train's journey has been compared indirectly to a person as if there is a steady climb upwards. Okay, the journey, I'm not talking about the train. The journey has been compared, the train's journey is compared to a steady climb upwards. Okay, then steady climb, then the gradient against her, where they say that the gradient is against her but she's on time. That means even though the slope is steep and it's difficult for her, but she manages to reach on time. This actually is a metaphorical comparison because it's trying to tell us, the poet is trying to tell us, W.H. Auden is trying to tell us that life also has a lot of obstacles. Life has a lot of difficulties. You will be facing a lot of challenges in life, but that doesn't mean you give up. You continue. You work and work and work till you reach where you are supposed to reach. So this much we have for all the figures of speech and everything. So I've done the poem in great detail with you all, and still if you have any problems, and as far as you have so many workbooks and all, so please practice writing your answers, because when you write your answers you will understand. And believe me children, with all that I have done with you, with the theme, with the form, with the setting, with the style, with the title, with the figures of speech, everything that I have done with you, you will be able to answer any question, any reference to context that comes in front of you. If you get the ethos of the poem, if you understand what is actually happening, if you understand the setting against which this poem was written, believe me, you will be able to write any reference to context. And to be able to write any reference to context, it's very important that whichever workbook your school has recommended, you please write the answers in that, and so that it's easier for you to understand. So that's it. So we've done enough for the day. Enough for this poem. So I hope this poem is clear to you. And if you have any problems, do write to me in the comment section. I'll go through the comments, and if I see that anybody has a problem or there is a question which needs to be answered, I will definitely answer those questions. Okay, when will I answer those questions? I'll answer them when I come up with the next poem. Okay, because I am not setting any questions on this. I don't see any need, because there are so many workbooks available and your teachers would be giving you. Still, if there is somebody who needs more questions from me, please write to me in the comments that ma'am, we need questions from you. Then in those circumstances, I'll formulate more questions and I'll give it to you. Otherwise, your comments and your questions will be answered before I begin my next module with the next poem. Is that okay? I hope I have clarified, and wish you all the best. Do study very hard, and believe me children, please do small chunks. I have been saying this even in my Julius Caesar series, that please do small things. When you do small things, it's easier for you, and you will retain it in your memory, so that at the end of your when you're towards the end of the year and you're preparing for so many subjects, you don't have to give too much time. Okay, that's your English facilitator Hemangi saying bye to all of you all and wishing you all the good luck. Please do study. Bye everyone.